Larry had always been a simple man. He worked at a grocery store in a small town in the middle of nowhere, content to live a quiet life and indulge in his love of cheese puffs. But all of that changed when the apocalypse struck. No one knew exactly what had caused the end of the world as we knew it. Some said it was a virus, others a nuclear war, but in the end, it didn't really matter. All that mattered was surviving. Larry was one of the lucky ones. He had been at work when the world fell apart, and he had managed to make it home before chaos descended on the streets. He barricaded himself in his house, watching in horror as the world outside turned into a madhouse of looting and violence. Days turned into weeks, and Larry's supplies began to dwindle. He knew he had to venture outside if he was going to survive, so he packed a bag of cheese puffs and set out into the unknown. It wasn't easy. The world was a wasteland, filled with dangers at every turn. But Larry was resourceful, and he soon discovered that his beloved cheese puffs were more than just a snack. They were a source of comfort and strength, a way to keep himself going when all hope seemed lost. Over time, Larry became a master of survival. He learned how to scavenge for food and water, how to defend himself against the dangers of the new world, and how to navigate the ruins of once great cities. But through it all, he never forgot his love of cheese puffs. They were his constant companion, his comfort in a world that had turned upside down. Larry traveled far and wide, exploring the ruins of once great cities and searching for other survivors. He encountered all sorts of dangers, from mutated beasts to roving bands of bandits, but he always managed to stay one step ahead thanks to his wits and his trusty bag of cheese puffs. As the years turned into decades, Larry began to wonder if he was the only survivor left in the world. He had traveled far and wide, but he had yet to encounter any other living humans. It was a lonely existence, but he found solace in his cheesy companions. Then one day, as Larry was wandering through a deserted city, he heard a sound that he thought he would never hear again, the sound of a human voice. He followed the sound to an old, abandoned building and cautiously approached. Inside, he found a group of survivors huddled together, haggard and hungry. They were shocked to see Larry, but he quickly won them over with his charm and his bag of cheese puffs. He shared his bounty with them, and they welcomed him into their fold. Together, they built a new community in the ruins of the old world. They worked hard to rebuild what had been lost, but they never forgot the lessons that Larry had taught them, that even in the darkest of times, there is always something to be grateful for, and that sometimes, a bag of cheese puffs can make all the difference. Years passed, and the community grew and prospered. But then, one day, a strange group of people arrived in the community. They were unlike anyone that Larry had ever seen before, tall, thin, and with strange markings on their skin. At first, they seemed friendly enough, offering to trade with the community and share their knowledge of the world outside. But as time went on, Larry began to suspect that something was not quite right about these newcomers. It wasn't until one dark and stormy night, when Larry was out on patrol, that he discovered the horrifying truth. The newcomers were not human at all, but some sort of alien beings, sent to Earth to conquer and enslave the surviving human population. Larry knew that he had to act fast. He raced back to the community and sounded the alarm, rallying his fellow survivors to prepare for the impending attack. The battle was fierce, and the aliens had technology far beyond anything that Larry and his comrades had ever seen before. But they fought with all their might, using every weapon at their disposal to defend their home and their way of life. In the end, it was Larry who saved the day. With his quick thinking and his love of cheese puffs, he devised a plan that allowed the human defenders to penetrate the alien defenses and strike a decisive blow. With the alien threat vanquished, Larry emerged as a hero, and was hailed as a savior by the remaining human communities. He was offered a leadership role in one of the larger communities, but Larry declined, feeling that his true calling was something else entirely. Instead, Larry decided to become a wanderer, traveling the world and helping other survivors in any way he could. He used his survival skills and his love of cheese puffs to barter for food and supplies, and he became known as a legendary figure, a protector of the weak, and a scourge of the wicked. As he traveled, Larry discovered that there were many other strange and dangerous threats out there, from marauding gangs of raiders to mutated creatures that roamed the wastelands. But with his trusty bag of cheese puffs by his side, Larry was always ready to face whatever danger lay ahead. Over time, stories began to spread about Larry and his exploits, and he became a folk hero to many of the survivors. They told tales of his bravery and his cunning, of how he had single-handedly taken down alien invaders and defeated hordes of raiders. Despite his growing legend, Larry remained humble and grounded, always remembering his humble roots as a simple grocery store clerk. He continued to travel the world, using his skills and his cheesy snacks to help those in need, and he became a living symbol of hope in a world that had been torn apart by disaster. As Larry continued his travels, he stumbled upon a secret underground laboratory that was working on a cure for the virus that had caused the apocalypse. The scientists were close to a breakthrough, but they needed a special ingredient to complete the formula: cheese puffs. Larry was shocked to learn that his favorite snack had the key to saving humanity. Without hesitation, he offered up his entire stash of cheese puffs, which he had been carrying with him on his journey. The scientists were overjoyed and immediately got to work on the cure. It took several weeks, but they were finally able to produce a serum that would counteract the effects of the virus and restore those who had been infected to full health. With the serum in hand, Larry set out on a new mission: to spread the cure to every corner of the world. He traveled tirelessly, braving danger and overcoming obstacles to bring the serum to the infected. Thanks to his efforts, the cure was eventually distributed to every remaining human community on Earth. The virus was eradicated, and humanity was given a second chance to rebuild. Larry's bravery and sacrifice had saved the world once again, and he became known as a true hero to all those who had been saved by his actions. And although his beloved cheese puffs had played a crucial role in the cure, he knew that it was the strength of the human spirit that had truly saved the day.